Hello everyone, this is General Hand Grenade. Welcome to my war room in Prince George, British Columbia. In today's video, we're going to be talking about task force markers. So I've got a new take on task force markers, or at least something that I think is cool, and that's what I'm going to be doing from now on for the Global War 1936 game. Anyway, let's get to it. So you probably recognize this. This is one of the task force markers that Historical Board Games sells. This is the Canada one. I don't think I've ever used the Canada one because the Canadian territories are so huge and I've never seen that many people on them. But anyway, that's one of them that you can get, and there's a whole bunch of them. I'll leave a link in the description box below the video. And with that, you get one of these things too. So if you take a close look at it, the flag on there on the bottom and on the top, they match the flag that's on here, right? And so what you would do is you put a bunch of stuff on there and you put it on a territory. Then you've got a bunch of things on this territory and you don't have to bunch it up. And I'll show you what that looks like later and somewhere else where we've got lots of stuff. But anyway, that's what you can get. And then recently Doug came out with these things here. They're IPP commanders, and what he made them for was so that you can put them on top of your IPP chart to, count the money. Instead of using little markers, you could just use them. And this one here, this is Italian commander. I think his name's Graziani. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of commanders that you can get. They're called IPP commanders, and I'll leave a link to those in the description box too. So what I did was I took all these guys and I glued them onto the little square thing, and then that goes on the territory. So that makes it a little clearer, and it looks kind of cool actually. I really like the way it turned out. Let me show you anyway what happened here. So here we go. Let's take a look at the Japanese first. So you look there, and there's a couple of different commanders, Yamamoto and, geez, I don't remember. I should have wrote all this down, but I don't really care, to be honest with you. I think they look cool. And they're actually historical generals or admirals. And so this guy here is an admiral, and this guy here was a general in the army, I believe. I've got two of those generals because there was only two that you could get for Japan, and I needed three because I happen to have 3 land task force markers with them. Now, you could use those on the naval task force markers too if you want. Like these are the naval task force markers, and they're longer, right? But I always like the way, like I've been doing this for a long time, where I put a battleship on there, and then I put a flag, like I put a nail through it. And then I've got these flags that I downloaded from the internet, and I glued them on. So that would be your task force marker out in the ocean. And I still like it that way better, rather than putting one of the commanders on top of one of those things. I like using the battleships instead. So anyway, there's the Japanese. And then you've got the Germans. As of now, there's 2 German ones out as well. And so this guy I'm using twice, and this guy back here, that's Hindenburg from World War I. But he's got one of those too, so I thought I'd use that. And this guy here, who is he? I think is he Rommel? No, he's somebody else. I think he's got Rommel coming out though soon. And they don't have any naval. I don't have a naval task force marker. I wanted to get one, but it was sold out, so I'm waiting for those ones to come back in so I can have a German naval one as well. There's a whole bunch of different sets, you'll see. And so here's the Italian one. So there's the Graziani one, and I've got one for naval as well. I sort of damaged this thing here. Anyway, there's the Russians. So there's a couple of Russian guys you can get. You see there's 3 different markers there, but one of them is actually an American, because I had an excess of American markers. But I thought, what the hell? They've got the same hat on, so I'll just use him and just pretend that he's a Russian. And then the French over here. So there's the French guy. What was his name? Charles de Gaulle. He's back here. And then this guy, I don't remember his name. He's another World War I marker. IPP markers. So there's the French ones. I don't know that I'll ever use two of them, probably just one of them. And then the Americans, there's lots of American ones. So I've got a couple of ship ones there, as you can see. And there's more than enough Americans to use. I think there's 4 or 5, I think 4 of the famous generals. Like you see Patton there, and I think there's Nimitz, and I don't remember, but anyway, so then we got the British. There's lots of British ones because there's like I've got a couple of ship ones there. You see, there's the Anzac Commander, and there was one that was also a FEC Commander as well. I just paint my FEC the same color as I do for my my regular British, and so he's just the same color. There's Montgomery right there. He's got the classic Montgomery hat on. Anyway, lots of British ones, but there's lots of British on the board. And then for the Chinese, he did have a couple of IPP markers, but there were no Chinese from the set, any task force markers. So I'm just going to use them just like you see there. What I did was I bought a couple of build plates, like a KMT build plate and a CCP build plate. I already had some, but these will just be for task force markers. And what I'll do, instead of using the little square piece, because there's only one each, then you know, okay, this one belongs to this one and that one belongs to that one. I don't need the little flag on the square thing telling me where they go. So this guy will probably be in Yunnan. And then all the units that are in Yunnan will be here. And then you've got Chairman Mao there. He's the communist, and all the communist units will be on there. Oh, by the way, some people were asking me about the Great Wall of China and if it fits on the 36 map, because it was made for the 14 map. And it does fit. It's kind of slightly mismatched here, but that's okay. Like you can tell that, you know, like that's where it's supposed to be. I don't know if you want to get it for your 36 map, but anyway, that's what the Great Wall of China looks like if you were interested in it. It's not for sale yet, but I think it will be soon. The Global 14 game is coming out soon. Anyway, let's for the benefit of the people who haven't played with task force markers, I'll show you what how they work. So just give me a minute here. Okay then, so this is how it works. You see that I've got my task force marker on Hawaii there, and then there's all the ships over there. They're on the task force marker, the platform where you put all the units, and you can see there's a couple of transports there there's a couple of Marines and a couple of soldiers, and they're obviously want to go across the water to make some kind of landing, maybe take some Japanese islands out or something. We'll find out, right? So rather than having to move all of those ships individually, you just simply take the task force marker, and I did this on purpose. These things can be picked up by the flag, and he goes 1, 2. He's gonna stop in Wake Island there, and so now all of those ships over there are in Wake Island, and they are in striking distance of Tokyo. And the Japanese, well, that's not going to do, is it? So they've got their task force marker over here, and they can go 3 spaces. They're at a major port here. So they go 1, 2, 3, and it's on. And so now we've got those 2 big fleets against each other. And the Japanese are going to be the attacker, and the Americans going to be the defender. And so this is another thing that's cool about this. So let me just show you. So you pick up rather than having to take all of the pieces to the battle boards, and they might even be on a different table, you can just pick them all up and take them all over to the battle board and then place them all. And you do the same thing with the defender. And that's a lot easier. And then you have your big battle, and then whatever's left, you put it back onto the task force marker, and you already know where they are. They're over here in Wake Island. And so, You just put the task force marker back, and maybe the American ship's gone, maybe the Japanese is gone. Who knows? Depends on who won that battle. Maybe they didn't win the battle and this guy has to retreat. But anyway, it's a lot easier being able to move everything around at once like that. And of course, if you wanted to split some things off, you know, like all you have to do is take a ship or two off of the task force marker over there and say, okay, those guys, they're not going to go with the rest of the fleet. This carrier here, he's going to go instead, he's going to come down this way. And he just goes wherever you want him to go. You know, and you can split them off that way, and then the rest of them are still over here in Wake Island. That's how it works in the water. Let's take a look in Europe and see how it works on the land. Okay, so I've set up a little land battle here. Let's move these guys in here a little bit closer so you can see. Now, imagine, if you will, that there's lots of other units in here, and these guys are just, you know, they're going to take care of some of that clutter by using these. And I've seen lots of people just use the little squares, and that's fine. They work the same, but I just think that these are neat because you can pick them up really easily, and they stand out because you look and you see like they tower above everybody else. So it makes them stand out when there's a ton of stuff around. You can easily see where they were. So what's going to happen here is the Germans are going to attack southern Belarusia here. So we just move this guy back. Instead of having to move all the units in there, we just have to move 2 in there, plus whatever else we're bringing, because all of these units are going in here. So we just have to bring in the airborne unit. So rather than put them here, we'll just put them on one of these things. And then we've got a bomber as well. So we'll also put him here, and a fighter and a tactical bomber. We'll just put them on there. And then just like we did with the ships, we can just pick these up and take them all to the battle board and resolve the battle, and then come back and you know, decide what happens here. Maybe the Germans only have a couple of things left, and then so all of these things can go on one task marker. So this is all that's left afterwards. Or maybe they both have to retreat, or whatever. Like whatever the resolution of that battle is, that's what you do, just like normal. But it just makes things a lot easier and a lot less cluttered. And you can tell that this is just going to be an enormous battle. This is probably something that's going to happen late game, and tons of tanks and a bit of technology in there. These guys got some tank destroyers over here, and there's some heavy tanks on there. The Russians don't have much air power, but the Germans do. That's pretty typical of one of these games. And there's only one cavalry left. You stopped by and know it was a long time ago. So anyway, but anyway, that's basically how these things work. And when like I think it was Hambone, he was using it. I'd already thought about it. I was thinking, I'm going to do that, you know, because these things would be perfect. I already sat one down on one of these square things. And I thought, this is like they were made for that. Then I saw Hambone use it once, and I thought, yeah, somebody else has got a good idea too. I don't know if he still does it, but I know that's what I'm going to be doing. And anyway, again, I'll leave a link in the description box below the video to see where you can get the task force markers and where you can get the IPP markers, and you can go get your own if you want. Anyway, that's all I got for you today, so take care, everyone. General Hand Grenade out.